October 2, around 11 o'clock. Last year, during a strong typhoon, this unit, SNAT, it got wet in the mountains, on the mountains of Solano. So Jerry was asked, my brother asked me to see what's wrong with this unit. It used to work, now it doesn't. So getting wet does things to electronic devices. So I'm going to use this 24 volt battery to power up the device. Now I've already powered it up to see whether it comes on or not, and it doesn't. So now we're gonna figure out why it doesn't come on. So this is what it looked like inside. It's actually a toroidal inverter. So the other inverter is just using MOSFETs and IGBTs and stuff. This one actually uses a toroidal transformer. I actually don't know which one is better, this type or the IGBT type. Now, because it's toroidal, the sinusoid is, I think, it's more smoother than the IGBT. The IGBT, it's chop or pulse PWM, and then some filtering occurs, whereas this, the toroidal actually, or the toroid transformer actually does the smoothing, most of it. So it's good for electronic devices. That's how it's useful. The other type, well, whatever. This is with this it's heavy. This thing is heavy, making this whole thing heavy. So based from what I see, there's no burnt marks or anything like that. No fuse. The fuse at the back is okay. I checked. Nothing that is an indication of damage. So anyway, I plugged the power, 26 volts. So press the on button. Nothing, nada. So there's no power on the board. So I'm just gonna do some check for power. Here on the connector, there is, I think, pin 1 probably, 12 volts, 5 volts, and then pin 3 and 4, no label, ground, and then I think this is an 8 pin 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. So this is an 8 pin Molex. So there is SM or SW2, SW1. So that's push button. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm just gonna measure if there's this power from ground. Is there 5? Is there 12? So using a multimeter, there is no 5 volts, there is no 5 volts, there is no 12 volts. So what's up with that? How come there are no voltages? So why not? I had disassembled the electronic board and to get into the problem. So the problem is basically that burnt trace. That's why there was no 12 volts or 24 volts getting into the system. So it was confusing me. So basically the problem is that the copper trace or copper track became the fuse. In fact, I should add a fuse to protect the circuit board. I have to think about that. How am I going to do that? So another problem is here, because of the another problem is because of the rain. that via became corroded, so it no longer passes electricity from one side, from the bottom side to the top side. So that is one of the problems. So it's multiple problem. Burnt tracks, corroded vias, and maybe even the cable. I will have to check whether it's melted. So I'm gonna fix it now and see what happens. It's gonna suck. This is actually unprofessional, but what the hey, I don't care. So basically, the bottom track needs to jumper over onto the top side. Now I did this because the via is highly corroded. I couldn't clean it. If I had all of the tools in my possession, I would have cleaned the heck out of that via and did it correctly. However, in this manner, it's whatever. So I'm just gonna put the whole thing together and then check the system again. Okay, everything is put back together. Now I'm going to connect the battery and then see what happens. So there is 24 volts on SW1. So there is 24 volts on SW1, this pin, the first pin. No 5 volts, no 12 volts. So I'm gonna see, turn it on. So no power. Okay. So there is 24 volts coming up, but there is no 5 volts or 12 volts. So what's wrong? So there must be something here. There must be a fuse here somewhere. So I'm going to check. So the reason why there's no 5 or 12 volts, I traced the source of the 12 volts to the transformer switching. So this is a pulse transformer. Through this diode, then from here 12 volts. I traced the fault to be here, whatever this component is. It's a MOSFET of some sort. So it looked like I will have to buy one somewhere if I can get the part number. Or it could be this part too that's damaged. So this is a driver for this MOSFET. So I have to check what kind of regulator that is. So anyway, this whole thing doesn't work because it's not pulsing 12 volts, or this thing is not pulsing. It's because this thing is not pulsing. So this whole thing doesn't work. Anyway, I'll see about getting parts from Lazada. So I took it out. The problem is the gate to drain. The ohms is 15 ohms. It should be higher than 15 ohms. So this thing is shorted. So I bought 10 pieces from Lazada for 300 peso. And just in case it goes bad again. So it's always had to have extras. Maybe it's better to... Anyway, I don't want to reverse engineer the switching power supply. But sometimes I have the temptation to increase the or change the voltage. It looked like the voltage gate to drain or gate to source is 20 volts. No, gate to drain is 20 volts. So when it got wet, it probably saw something that it just damaged the MOSFET. Quite frankly, I couldn't see how unless it's wet. And now I have to check the chip driver. So this part is UTC3845E. It's a PWM controlled chip. So it pulses the transformer, there's a feedback, and it regulates it to whatever voltage it wants to see. So I checked Lazada and Shopee and I can't find them there. Some other parts not applicable for this part. So sadly, I will have to get Jerry to buy them overseas. I can't get them here in the Philippines. So anyway, hopefully this part is okay. Hopefully, and we can only find out once I replace this part. See if it does do its job. So I'm gonna clean the holes, and then let me just see. Maybe I can check the PWM output just for the fun of it. Okay, I put it all together and powered it up. It looked like there's no power to the component, so something else is wrong. So I'll just do a quick, I really don't want to reverse engineer this thing just because anyway, I'll spend another few minutes on it. Okay, I did some quick reverse engineering of this circuitry. So, much to my surprise, it has an auto on-off feature. So basically, this transistor right here provides power to this PWM controller. So somehow this thing is triggered by some method to provide the 24 volts to this chip. I just can't, just too lazy to figure out how this is driven, but however, the gate or the source, no, this is it could be a P MOSFET or N MOSFET, could be a PNP, it could be an NPN, I just don't know. So somehow this chip somehow this PWM through this MOSFET something maybe triggered by this push button allows auto power to the circuitry. Now because it doesn't have a since I removed the MOSFET, which needs to be replaced anyway, it wouldn't work. So this chip, I can't find it at Lazada or Shopee. So as soon as this MOSFET is replaced, I'm going to throw the scope at it and do some checking. It seems like there's some signal that needs to be coming from the push button through this harness, and then drive this component to drive that component to provide power to this PWM transformer that provide 12 and 5 volts. So this is how far I can get. Maybe next week I'll receive the MOSFET. Thanks for watching.